Hello and welcome to Woody's Musical Isolation Roundups. This week we've got a slightly different format as I've invited a very special guest, Kunal, the head honcho of Chaos Theory. Kunal, say hello.
Hey, hello, you alright?
So I sent you over a few tunes to check out, and what I'd really like to do is have a bit of discussion about why I particularly found these tunes interesting or these albums interesting, and also get your input as well.
Cool. Well, you've always got some great recommendations, so let's have it.
The first off is Slay at Home Festival, organised by Metal Injection. They were, for me, they were one of the best live streams I've seen during lockdown. Then we have For the Benefit of All by T. Morris and Joe Quayle, and their audio, visual, novel, story, whole encompassing, wonderful thing that they did. And then finally we have Run the Jewels with RTJ4, which was released almost a week ago to the day as of recording. We're going to start off with Slay at Home Festival.
Yeah, I was hoping to catch the playback. I think it's the best named streaming event I've ever heard of. I'm really annoyed I didn't think of that name first. Yeah. And the lineup looked incredible, and I didn't manage to catch it live. I'm really hoping to catch it live, and it's basically on your recommendation.
Yes.
Joe Quayle was playing.
Yes.
It's called Slay at Home. I mean, that enough. I'm sold.
Slay at Home was a festival that was curated by Metal Injection. There were a number of different rooms around the house based on this festival. So each room related to a different, I want to say genre, but more mood. So you had A.A. Williams and Joe Quayle in one room. You had the 2 Minutes to Midnight guys in another room, and you had Employed to Serve and Dillinger Escape Plan in another room. You had an hour of a particular lineup, but rather than each room having its own stream, each room was kind of connected in the fact that A.A. Williams would have 5 to 15 minutes to perform, so would the next act, which was in a different room, and then the mood would shift and change, so that if you weren't a particular fan of a band, you didn't have to wait too long before something else was on. Again, although that might be true for some of the acts that I saw that I wasn't a particular fan, there were the way that they did it meant that I would listen to some of their tracks regardless of who they were, and I found that if I'd have seen them on the lineup, I might have been a bit more off put by what they were going to do, but the fact that they were going to be followed by something else, I spent the time to listen to them, and actually what they did was actually amazing.
It's a nice mix, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
So, obviously I've missed this. I'm sure a lot of people hearing about this either saw it or they didn't.
Yep.
Can we watch this now?
Yes,
now that
you
you're telling
can.
us about it.
So on the Metal Injection YouTube page,
Yeah.
they have both days, so the Friday and the Saturday in its entirety. So the Friday was 3 hours, I think, and the Saturday was 4 hours.
Yeah.
Or they have started uploading each individual performance as a standalone video. So if you weren't keen on one particular band, you could actually go in and just listen to the band that you were wanted to see. I would say that for me, the standout performances were A.A. Williams, Joe Quayle. One of the best ones that I saw was Employed to Serve and Dillinger Escape Plan doing a cover of Deftones' Elite.
What?
Yeah,
What?
I know.
Sounds amazing.
It was.
I completely dropped the ball missing this.
That was, for me, that was the highlights.
That sounds amazing. That sounds literally like I couldn't enjoy anything else, at least for that week.
Yeah, you need to see it.
It's really interesting to see how people are actually dealing with the restrictions that they're faced with and creating nonetheless, and that is powerful to see. So I like the fact that people are still finding new ways to create, despite having lockdown measures, isolation, all sorts of restrictions with work, finances, everything, and they're still making it happen. So that's pretty cool. So I'll check that out.
We might as well talk about the Portals Festival live streams that happened over the weekend?
That was good because I was surprised. To be honest, I was quite positive about it. I was pretty sure they would do something that I would find interesting.
Yep.
They're very. I mean, I trust their promotion and the curation, but
Yeah.
I was still a bit skeptical once I realised that none of it will be music and it is just going to be interviews and chats and discussions. I'm like, am I really going to be that bothered to stay and sit through this for the entire weekend? It turned out I was. It was it's very interesting. They did a really good job.
Oh,
It's very engaging.
I would completely agree with that. Is that they did something that I didn't expect, and on first glance, you question whether it'll be engaging enough.
Yeah.
And within 5 or 10 minutes, my doubts had completely disappeared. And actually, from them talking about bands, from them interviewing bands, and their whole the way that they edited everything together with live clips and.
I think most of the editing was done by FLA Production actually, which is Aaron Oates, and he's done a few of our live videos, and he's got a few more coming out. So
well, I mean,
he's done a good job.
What he did was absolutely amazing,
Yeah,
and I honestly, I couldn't fault anything that they've done. So I listened to Nordic Giants a fair bit, and if you haven't heard of them, you should definitely check them out. Especially
You should see them live. See them live.
Well, once the socially distancing,
once we can.
once we can.
I have to start. This is why your roundups are so important to me, because actually I personally discover all the bands I discover in the last 15, 20 years. My favourite ones are generally by seeing them live. And I have to accept that that's not the foremost way I'm going to discover bands for a few months. So I need to pay attention more to record releases and stuff than I have been.
So that is obviously a thing, and you know I'm lucky enough to have seen them live a couple of times, and I mean if you ever get the chance outside of this, yes, go do it. The team mentioned why they booked them, which all of it I could completely agree with. But they also mentioned that they've done a YouTube series about projects that they're passionate about, and I think there was an album either last year or the year before, which was the soundtrack to that mini series that they done. And after the live stream of Portals, I watched all 10 videos. They're all 5 minutes. The first one is about an army veteran who is aiming to raise money for army veterans on the streets, and he's walking basically around England, and it was all about his view of why he's doing that. One was about being carbon neutral and a particular house that's been built and the way that it's been built in order to achieve that. Another one was about mindfulness and how it's necessary, especially in the world today, to kind of just be mindful about things and yourself and focus on yourself, because you're really important. And you know they all had a positive message, even though maybe some of the subject matter was not particularly positive to as you might think about it, which was really great. Like, yeah, that was all Portal's intervention for me.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is For the Benefit of All, which is a collaborative piece by Tom Morris and Joe Quayle. It was a piece that was originally intended to be performed within the Kelly Richardson's Mariner 9 panoramic exhibition at Forgotten Futures Festival, but as you can imagine, due to the current situation, the Forgotten Futures Festival was postponed until next year. The piece is using digital synthesizers, cello, and NASA audio recordings, and it aims to tell the story of Mariner 9 and its initial mission to take images on Mars, and it also extends that to a potential future where we are kind of effectively reporting on the rapidly changing and unstable Earth, as well as the hope and the intrigue of having a mission and potentially colony on Mars. It lasts for about 40 minutes, and I highly recommend going over to YouTube and watching the video itself, as it's a really engaging and thought-provoking piece, I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. How about you, Kunal?
Oh, I think it was incredibly well thought out, and I mean, there've been a lot of streams out there, and some people are getting really creative with it and really high quality. But that's the best sounding stream I've ever heard. The sound quality was what blew me away the most, and the story was amazing. It was really interesting. It was really immersive. It was cool to watch, and it was a really fun experience. And Tom and Joe put a lot of thought and effort into that. You can see, but the sound was just breathtaking. It was just stunning and deeply immersive, and it was just so well produced. I didn't just focus on the visuals a lot. There were periods where I actually just closed my eyes and just let myself melt into the sound, and it was enough. It was so good. So I will rewatch that and pay extremely close attention to the visuals and not close my eyes at any point. But it was really good. It was a really good experience, and it's the best thing I've seen. It was well good.
And one thing that I really liked about it was the juxtaposition of hope and despair at the same time. That the way the story progresses, it always suggests that there's hope and something else is coming on the horizon that will potentially save us. And then there's also the background of despair and potential fear about other aspects that are going on in the world and this fictional future. And yeah, it was something that it really engaged me, and I wanted to watch it to the end. It wasn't something that I had to endure. It was just a pure wonderful listening experience from start to finish.